And we're back. It's the one and only. Yo, man, I'm so excited. At last, I got him to show up. I got him to be here, man. It's been a long time coming. Fresh off the plane from Detroit. He's rocking the Apollo Creed shorts today. Yo, oh, snaps, my man.
It's late at night. It's late at night, so I got my creeds on. I got my airplane attire, but I had to come see my guy.
Man, my man Royce the 5'9" is here at last. Thank you so much, man, for finally joining me here, man. And
come on, man. It's an honor. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Man, I look forward to having this conversation with you and really, going over the journey, man. Your journey, It's been a long one. It's been a beautiful one. It's been a turbulent one. It's been all of the above.
Turbulence. I like a little turbulence.
Hey, man, hey, pressure makes diamonds. So the name of the show is Nothing Beats Experience, and we're going to get right to it. But of course, there's going to be a lot of fan questions that people are curious to know. So I do want to get it out the way first. Obviously, there's been a lot of disruption within Slaughterhouse. I have a relationship with Joe, obviously, from booking him. I have a relationship with Crook. Never had the opportunity to work with Joel. And obviously, I have a working relationship with you as well. This whole thing that happened, I was torn by it. I've seen this play out for the internet. Just for you now that this has passed and it's kind of happened, where do you stand as of today? And to the fans that are watching, what do you care to even say to that, the whole situation?
I can't jump up and down about things I can't control.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do about it. It was a myriad of feelings, things, and different emotions that I went through just dealing with it. You got the personal aspect of it, and then you also have the business aspect of it, So as a businessman, it's unfortunate to spend so much time doing something, building something, especially in a business that doesn't promote the forward movement of developing things that can be self-serving to you for long periods of time. It's unfortunate that we spend so much time and we blow through so many years and we blow through so much money before we realize how important those things are, and how important the importance of equity and the importance of just ownership in general, and great partnerships and solid relationships and good network, good resources, and the ability to be able to utilize those resources. So, and then also you have the friendship aspect of it, and it's really hard to separate those two things, first of all. And then second of all, just dealing with the friendship side of it. Obviously I have a different relationship with each guy in the group. Love all those guys very much. We dealt with each other the different ways that we dealt with each other based off of what our relationships were personally throughout the years. So without even pointing the finger at anybody in particular and just going into too personal of how my personal feelings are, because I don't think that matters anymore. It's just about holding people to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And people don't always live up to that standard, Sometimes I may not live up to that standard with somebody. And as grown men, we, perspective changes, things change. Things change, things happen. And it's one of the unfortunate parts about business, especially evolving and attempting to evolve in a business where it's not necessarily considered correct to show emotion or to show vulnerability about something that hurts you, or something that affects you in a way that brings something out of you that doesn't say, oh yeah, I'm perfect. You know what I'm saying? I don't do everything right. I'm not made out of metal, man. Things hurt me. You know what I mean? I react. I'm a human being. I make bad decisions. I give people the grace to make bad decisions. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's just a point. You reach a breaking point, and when there's nothing that you can do about it, I love to be able to talk through situations and get to a better place, but I haven't always been afforded that luxury, man. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way, man. Like we were talking about in the car. it's like God doing inventory, you know, like everybody's not meant to go on a journey that you're meant to go, and vice versa. You know, like people may be on paths that I'm not meant to be on. I'm not meant to go with you wherever you're going. And as long as everybody's happy, man, I'm good. You know, it'd be foolish of me to assume that I can just control everything. Like everything's gonna be my way. You know what I mean? It's not gonna always be my way. People are gonna do things. People are gonna change. People's perspectives are gonna change. People are gonna make decisions that you don't agree with. You know, and it's just the nature of the business. I'm comfortable in the fire, you know. Like this ain't my first rodeo. Smooth, you know that, man. Like
Yeah,
it's
for
not,
sure.
it's not the first. It won't be the last.
And I think it's, to me, you know, obviously like having a relation with Crook, having a relation with you, and really kind of knowing you guys for as long as I've known you guys. It's hard for me to see it, but at the same time, like there's this part of me like, is there room for resolve? And of course, you said there's love. There's no hate. There's not like any wishing of ill will. But you know, like when I think obviously with Joel and Crook, when they declared the group as it's over, it's done. Like moving on from that, like does that include the friendship? Because there's the friendship aspect of it as well. Like, did you feel that way at least? And you know, before we get to the next part of this interview, I just kind of wanted to ask you that. You know. Like, was that kind of rolled into it for you? Because I'm aware, obviously, seeing some of the clips and kind of hearing your perspective, it's like everybody was kind of blindsided by what was happening. So
yeah, I think that's a great phrase to use, blindside. And I see, this is another thing. I didn't get to make that decision.
Yeah.
I didn't get to decide if we could still be friends and move on. Mm. You know, like if I'm doing business with you and then, you know, we're friends and I decide I want to sever ties with you from a business standpoint, but I want to remain friends with you, then me and you going to talk about that.
For sure.
If I blindside you, then that means I don't give a fuck about the friendship. At least in my mind, the way that I think. I don't feel like I was given the opportunity to be able to separate those two things and distinguish those things. Okay, me and such aren't doing business any longer, but this is still my man. I didn't get that opportunity. I feel like I was stuck in the trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's it. There's nothing I can do about it. It's a decision that was made already, you know? And like, it was made and then multiple steps were taken after that said, fuck you. You know what I mean? So, you know, it gets to a point where you just kind of listen to it. It's just like, all right, well, I guess have it your way, I guess. You know what I mean?
Just have to move on. And I speak on behalf of, I'm sure, all the fans out there and myself included. I just don't want to see it get to a point where it starts becoming like, you know, people doing diss songs on each other and doing all this crazy shit. Like, and I just, that's for me speaking to you. Like, I don't want to see it come to that, but you know, obviously I know you.
Who have you seen me do that with?
I haven't, you know, but I'm just saying I would hate for that to be the case. But
that's never gonna happen.
Well, you know, let's move on. Name of the show again is Caught Nothing Beats Experience. I want to really start from the beginning, man. Like, you know, the beginning of when you got into music, how you got into music. At what age would you say you got bit by the bug and said, you know what, this is the shit I really want to do for a living. Like, this is like my pathway, you know?
Wow, okay, you put me on the spot with that one. This is when I start feeling like an old man. Cause Smooth, I want to say when I graduated high school, my dad, this is a life lesson that I learned. My dad told me, he made me make a decision. And there were a lot of my peers that were like, they were capping and pretending that they knew exactly what they wanted to do. And it made me feel alienated. It made me feel like, damn, am I the only one who just doesn't know? You know, like, and then looking at it in retrospect, none of us knew. None of us knew. Yeah. You're not supposed to know what you want to do in life at 18, 19. Well, I'm not gonna say you're not supposed to, but it's very common for you not to know, and it's okay for you not to know. But I felt so much pressure in that moment when my dad told me, you get out or go to the Army.
Wow.
And like at that moment, I knew what I wasn't gonna do. And I think that looking back at it, that's just as important, and that's just as good as knowing it's just as good as knowing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because at least you're making a decision, you know what I mean? You're making a commitment, and the universe reacts well to committing to things. So just the act of me, I said, okay, I don't know exactly what I want to do, but I know what I'm not going to do. And my mind is made up. I'm not going to anybody's army. So I left and I went to New York. You know, my son was born, so I went to New York and I decided I'm not coming home until I had a record deal. And just that pressure from my father, you know, to make a decision was all I really needed to put me on a path.
Yeah.
You know, because you can teeter. It's hard to toe that line. You can kind of ride the fence for an entire lifetime, not committing to one thing, you know, especially the generation that we came up in. We've been taught shit like have a backup plan and, you know, like you gotta go to college and you know what I mean? No real pertinent information. Save your money. You know, like all of this fucking horrible advice. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it's I was forced to be on the path, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
But I guess the question would be now is like, okay, so you say you're gonna go to New York and you're like, I'm not leaving until I get a deal. But prior to that, how long had you already been writing? Had you already been recording? Like, what was that? What did that look like? You know, in regards to the musical journey, like, because you know, like you think about it, like for me, you know, I fell in love with hip hop at a specific age. I remember exactly how old I was. I remember exactly what artist it was. I remember exactly what even grew my infatuation with the culture that made me go, this is what I want to do. This is the path that I want to take. This is what I feel that I love. What was that? What did that look like for you? Was it like the first time I heard LL Cool J, or what was it? You know, like that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and then you started writing. And then when did you realize, like, whoa, I'm actually really good at writing, or did you know instantly?
I'm just genetically inclined to be creative. You know, so like the first time I seen Isaiah Thomas, I wanted to be a basketball player. The first time I seen LL Cool J, I just wanted to be LL Cool J. I didn't necessarily have to be a rapper. You know, and then Redman and Razzcast made me want to rap. They made me want to put pen to paper. You know what I mean? And I was going to the Ebony Showcase. You know, that's a open mic night that we were doing. Well, not that I was doing, but that we were going to every week, and it was hip hop shop-esque. You know what I mean? But it was a little bit better for my self-confidence, because I went into the hip hop shop. The first time I went in there and shit, I got gonged. The first time I tried to rap in there, I got gonged. You know what I'm saying? And it was just going in there, like Proof was hosting, so seeing guys like Proof, Elzai, Marshall, and you know what I mean, like all the Slum Village got, like just everybody. Everybody was just in there just kind of doing their thing, you know, like the B-Flat and King Gordy and you know what I mean? Like everybody, Marv One, everybody was in there, and everybody, you know, it was a bunch of killers in there. And when I started going to like the hip hop shop, that's when I realized I wasn't really as good as I thought I was, because I was, you know, I was in my high school, I became the man, like like quick, you know. So being around other guys, I guess it's equivalent to a highly touted like basketball player going to like the ABCD camp for the first time, or like going to like around some other All-Americans, playing summer league and shit. You like, fuck, some other killers out here, you know. So it was kind of like that feeling, you know what I'm saying?
So when you go in the hip hop shop, and I've always played this out of my head, right? Like how this looks and what it looked like, with kind of like you mentioned, like this group of like just killers, you know what I'm saying? Guys that now, it almost sounds mythical. Like it's like, wow, like this guy was there, that guy was there, from hearing it from a fan's perspective. Was there any one guy in specific that you saw for the first time that just made you go, yo, he's on another level, like I gotta step it up? You know, obviously I know people are gonna assume Marshall, and I'm sure Marshall was one of them, but outside of Marshall, maybe, was there anybody that made you go, man, like that motherfucker, the first time I saw him, ooh, boy, I wanted to step it up, you know?
Elzai.
For sure.
Elzai.
That was like it was just.
17 years old.
I got a question. Do you remember the first song you ever recorded?
Mm.
I was gonna ask if you remember the title of the song. Man, it's been so long. Do you remember how old you were? So now we're feeling old, right?
I mean, it's been so many years, man. First rap I wrote was called Motivated. I do remember that. But other than that, no. I don't even remember.
You mentioned Proof. You know, I know there was some differences, you know, obviously throughout the course of your career with Proof at one point. Kind of want to, you know, looking back on that and speak to the importance of Proof. You know, I want to say this month this is the month that he had passed in April, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I'm not sure, but kind of speak to his, you know, what the role he played in the hip hop scene. You mentioned that he was a host out there. I'm asking this for myself because
Mm-hmm.
I always just kind of like drew a parallel to him, and I always like looked up to like what I felt he embodied for the scene out there. But I kind of wanted to hear from you straightforward as far as like what you would say he meant to Detroit hip hop.
Well, Detroit was broken down like into two kind of like different worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like you had street rap. It's kind of like that still, but you had street rap, and then you had the hip hop side. So the street side and the hip hop side, it was two different worlds, but it's still all Detroit. You know what I mean? So like the street guys are making amazing music, and then the lyrical hip hop guys, us, I guess the backpackers. You know, like we used to hang out at certain spots, and then the street guys would hang out at the strip clubs and go to like the popping parties and shit like that. Every now and then, you know, the two sides would cross paths depending on who you are. So like, I was one of the people who had family on both sides. You know, I hung with a lot of street niggas. I had a lot of OGs, and then so did Proof. You know what I mean? But Proof, he tied up the loose ends and pulled the two worlds together better than anybody that you'll ever see in the history of Detroit. He's like Tupac, man.
Wow. I remember, you know, like, and I wanted to ask, because, you know, I think this is something I recall, and I've shared the story with you before, but whenever I was younger, and if I'm not mistaken, dude, this is probably 2007, maybe 2008. I want to say you went to jail for a while. Didn't you go to jail for a while?
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember you went to jail for a while, and they had put your information on MySpace.
Mhm.
So I wrote you a fan letter. I shared that story on stage before. Looking back on that time of your life, you know, you're a young artist, you're coming in, and, you know, what would you say that was attributed to? You going to jail at that time? I actually don't know what you went to jail for, but I remember you were gone for about a year, if I'm not mistaken. Was it? Am I correct on that?
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of what did you learn and what did you experience in that time frame being away for a year, and just that recollection in that time frame that, you know, like, were you just too young to register what the hell was really going on?
I got a lot of good sleep.
You got a lot of good sleep.
I got a lot of good sleep. I learned that I needed to slow things down. I needed to let go of the wheel and not be in control. I needed for somebody to tell me to sit your ass down before you kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to jail for drinking and driving.
Mm.
You know, so it's probably one of the greatest things that happened to me, you know, looking at it in retrospect, you know, because I learned a lot of, you know, hard lessons. You know, that was another one of the things that made me comfortable in the fire, you know?
And your son was already born at this point, correct?
Oh yeah.
So would you consider yourself at that point like you were young and reckless? I guess you would say, just kind of on the path of like, yeesh.
Understatement.
Wow.
That's an understatement. Young and reckless is an understatement. And furthermore, I wasn't that young.
Well, you know, and looking back now,
I wasn't that young when I went to jail.
You were old enough to understand what was happening, but like,
yeah, I was young and reckless when I wrecked my first car, got my first record deal. I was young and reckless then. When I went to jail, I was old enough to know better. You know what I mean? So, you know, I needed to go through that in order to just be able to really put things in perspective. You know what I mean? Like, and when that happened to me, that's when that was like the first time that I truly started to put my alcohol use in perspective a little bit. That was like the beginning stages of it.
Because at that time you were just, you just
Yeah,
didn't, you weren't registering it.
I knew at some point I was gonna get sober. I knew it.
It was just something that, well, I mean, like, I guess, you know, for me, like I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum with that because, you know, a lot of people don't know I've never drank my whole life. I'm 37. I've never drank
I
my whole
know.
life. So like, but you know, you're saying you knew you were gonna be sober, but like how do you know that? I guess is the question. Like, how did you know that going into that?
Well, when I say, let me clarify what I meant. When I say I knew, I was looking at it and I was thinking to myself, I'm not gonna be able to do this for too much longer. I don't know how much longer it's gonna be, but at some point I'm gonna have to stop.
It's gonna catch up, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's when I started thinking. I started thinking that way. Like when I went to jail. I actually, not to cut you off, I actually chilled for a second after that with drinking.
Oh, you put a pause to it, right? Mm-hmm. Rewind a little bit. You mentioned whenever you said, you know, you made the decision to go to New York City. I'm not leaving until I get a deal. Mm-hmm. So you got the deal is what happened, correct? Mm-hmm. And at the time you signed to Tommy Boy, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you were fielding offers from other labels, or was it Tommy Boy the only, at the time, that was only taking interest?
Well, here's how that worked. So we went and took meetings with everybody. Everybody said no. So I started working with Dre on the Chronic. Everybody hears that I'm traveling around with Marshall. You know, everybody hears that I'm working with Dre on the Chronic, that I'm working in close proximity with the white boy. And then they wanted to call another meeting. They wanted to talk again. You know, that's where all of the $1 million deals came from. You know, just that whole vibe. But I guess the whole industry knew that Dre was over there building something special.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody wanted parts. Everybody wanted all parts. So when I went to talk to Tommy Boy and we finally closed on that deal, that was my second time talking to him. And I went back and played them the exact same demo, song for song for song for song. Nothing changed. Like I didn't change anything.
Oh, okay. You say, and they bid on it.
Oh man, this is the greatest shit that I ever heard in my life. You heard it before.
But it just changed because of all the things you were doing at the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I always kind of like look back at the time because obviously, you know, you mentioned you were working with Dre. You know, you mentioned obviously you were working with Marshall, and everybody knew you were working with Marshall, and you were doing the stuff with Eminem, and so it kind of raised your profile. Was Kino your manager the whole entire time? Mm-hmm. So so whenever you first got in, was he your manager from the jump?
Absolutely. I met Kino at the Ebony Showcase.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. So speak to that. I want to kind of speak to the importance of your working relationship with, you know, obviously you've had, you know, Kino as your manager now for however long it's been. You had a 20-year run. Mm-hmm. How important was it having someone like Kino come in your career at that age and kind of see certain things through and grow together in the business?
That was one of the most important parts. And, you know, same with my wife. You know, I met her in high school, you know, so loyalty is just a big thing to me, man. You know, it's circling back to what we were talking about just earlier, just when we were talking about certain relationships and things like that. It's like, it's very difficult for somebody to try to paint you as disloyal when your actions just don't reflect that. You know, like my actions don't reflect that at all. You can't call me disloyal. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest part of it. You know, like that's the most fulfilling thing. And as you grow in this business, the more you grow, the more you realize how subjective success is, how subjective the word is. It's like you get to a point where you're just searching for fulfillment, not validation, fulfillment. And one of the most fulfilling things about my marriage, my relationship, and then my career is being able to do it with my loved ones.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, and you mentioned, you know, being with your wife since high school. And I mean, just like any marriage, I'm sure you can speak to this, I'm sure there was plenty of times where it was you experienced certain hardships throughout time. Obviously, you were gone for a year, you know, and I'm sure that was probably a tough situation. But now that you've had time, and now that time has passed, like, what were some of the key points that you would say like really helped you get through that in terms of your relationship and be able to work through that? Because I feel like that's something important for people to hear, because a lot of times creatives get into the business, and they, whatever business they're in, it doesn't even have to be music, right? It could be any sense of the business, and then they start experiencing hardships, and they start experiencing turbulence, and they don't know how to process it and necessarily articulate it. But what would you say, looking throughout the course of your marriage, has helped really kind of get through those rough patches of whatever you may have experienced?
Well, if you're a creator, especially, I think that every married person should go to therapy.
As a couple or individually?
As a couple and individually. I think every married couple should go to counseling, and I think that every person should go to therapy. I think the main thing that people have to realize is that every successful relationship is tough. It's hard work. It's a lot of work, and it's hard work. It's not easy. There's going to be down patches. There's going to be times where you think, I don't love this person anymore. There's going to be times where you like, yo, what the fuck was I thinking? I would never stop loving this person. Your perspective changes, you know what I mean? But you grow with the person, you grow apart, then you grow back together again. You grow apart, I always use this analogy, that old couple that you see sitting on the porch, in the rocking chairs,
Yeah.
like that old couple that's been together their whole lives. They've been through it all. They've been through it all, and there's nothing that you can go through that they haven't been through. But they fought through those things. Me and my wife, we're no special case. We just never put the option of divorce on the table. We never looked at that as an option. We never even thought about it. We just fought through everything that we went through, and we just went through hard shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the jail thing. She was pregnant with my second child the whole time I was in jail. I lost a house while I was in jail. It was a hard time, you know what I mean? But those hard times, they build something. They turn people into champions, and it made me a champion. It made her a champion.
I feel that, you touched on therapy, and one thing that you've been a huge advocate of has been mental health. And I admire that a lot about you. You started the Ryan Montgomery Foundation, and I think it's in support of mental health, correct?
Of course.
And I wanted to touch on why it's so important for you to be an advocate for mental health, because I think that that's something that, of course, with my platform, I like to really talk about. I really like to address, because I think it's something that we should not be not talking about, if that makes any sense. I feel like it's great to bring awareness, but why is it so important to you in specific?
Well, everything that I've been through in my career and in my life, like as I grow and I get older, I realize that I'm here for a reason. I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, just based off the things that I've been through, I wasn't supposed to survive those things. The average person doesn't survive the things that I've been through, So I just see it that way. So being in that percentile of people who were able to grow out of the situation that I was born into, you look back at it and you say to yourself, like, wow, these things need to be fixed. I see that's wrong. And the pandemic really dealt me a weird hand of cards, man. Like, I started to see really, really, really bad things materialize and happen right before my eyes, especially to my people. And I was forced to like sit in front of my computer screen and just see it happen in the real time, and seeing like multiple reactions to it, and seeing just in 4K right in front of me all of the ways in which our communities are behind the 8 ball. All the ways. And mental health is that's like the biggest void in the communities that you can think of. It's the most stigmatized thing, first of all, and I think we all know it. We all witnessing like a mental health crisis right now. It's like everybody is like, every human needs therapy right now, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel about it. So, you know, like looking at our community specifically, just looking at it, I just felt like that was probably the first thing that I should do, you know, because I want to launch initiatives with my foundation. So the first thing that I want to focus on is mental health care, period. You know what I mean? And I'll eventually move on to other initiatives because there's obviously so many things to fix. And the point that I was getting to before I start being long-winded was I noticed that was one of the things that needed to be fixed. And I noticed that a lot of people were sitting around and kind of like yelling about the problem, talking about the problem, even protesting about the problem. And I just wanted to be a little bit more proactive than that, you know? So I wanted to start taking steps, not saying that that there's nothing against protesting, because if I was 20, I would be out there, you know? And I commend everybody, you know, who's willing to put their time, effort, and place their bodies in the line of fire. All of the beautiful people, Trader Truth, My Song, guys like that, you know what I mean, Tamika, they don't have to be out there, and they out there. And I love them for that. I love and support them for that. And I feel like as long as everybody's doing their part, we taking steps in the right direction. And I just wanted to just start taking steps. So, you know, I commend everybody in the mental health space, you know, guys like Charlamagne the God. You know, there's tons of athletes, you know, Kyrie, a bunch of people, you know what I mean? A lot of people taking steps. So I just decided I wanted to start taking steps.
I think that's really important because I feel like there's been such a stigma for so long with mental health that people hear the word mental health, especially, you know, probably in previous generations because social media wasn't as prevalent. You see the word and it kind of has a stigma like, oh, you know, you're weak or whatever the case may be. But it's like anything, right? I've said this before. It's like a basketball, right? And eventually when the basketball gets deflated, you have to put air back into it and inflate it. And in a lot of senses, that's the analogy I use with therapy. And that's what it gives you. It gives you that sense of understanding and bringing you back up. So I encourage anybody and everybody to really like just, you know, have an open mind to it, you know.
Absolutely.
But how would you go about finding out more about the Ryan Montgomery Foundation?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you follow me on Instagram or just follow me, you know, you'll always get information firsthand. You know, we're in the process of launching the site too, so that's going to be coming real soon. You know what I mean? But it's a slow thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm new to the space. You know what I mean? So I'm doing my part really, really slow. But I am taking steps.
You may be new, but you're important. And I feel that one thing about you in specific, Royce, is that as time has passed, you know, you're reaching that triple OG status now. You know, all these young guys coming in. Yeah, I know, man. I'm sorry. I don't want to make you feel old. But you see these young cats, they look up to you, man. You know, hey, man, Royce is one of the greatest of all time. And obviously last year you got the Grammy nod for Best Rap Album of the Year, which for the allegory, which I thought was an amazing, amazing feat, regardless of whether or not there was a win or not. It was a win to be acknowledged on that level, especially an album that you fully produced.
Thank you.
You know, because I think that's overlooked. It's not just you crafting this album from a production perspective of writing the rhymes and doing it. You literally created the bed of the music. It's incredible. You know, but we talk about music now because now I'm sure your fans want to know musically what's happening, what's next. You know, what can we expect from Royce da 5'9" as a solo artist? What can we expect from you and Preem? You know what I'm saying? With Prime, you know, obviously, you know, I saw the interview the other day with you and I forgot who it was, but I know they mentioned you and Marshall being in the studio doing some work. Mm-hmm. So we'll take it one at a time. What's next as far as the music?
I don't know. I'm still molding it over in my mind. You know, like I'm doubling and tripling up on new areas of expertise. You know what I mean? Like I'm slowly learning how to do a lot of different things. A good friend of mine named Prevail, shout out Prevail. He loves the way I decorated my studio. So he just bought a club and he asked me if I could if I can design his club. So I'm started an interior design company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I got an interior design company. I'm really, really focused on business.
Yeah.
Really, really focused on business these days. Not to say that the business is so separate from the rapping, but I've been doing the rapping for so long. I do it when I feel it. When I feel it,
Yeah.
you know. There's a lot of things on the table, and ready whenever we're ready, and whenever that time is right, we're gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna keep people waiting for long periods of time, obviously. But I like to do things when it's right. When it's right, when I know that it's gonna be right. When everything is in place. I was really looking forward to, not to keep beating the dead horse, but I was really looking forward to the next Slaughterhouse things. I was looking forward to doing that. So I'm kind of at a pivot. I'm pivoting.
Yeah.
I'm pivoting creatively. So
Do you think we'll get another Prime album?
absolutely.
Do you think we'll ever get another Bad Beats Evil project?
I can't say that because
Maybe.
I can't speak.
Yeah.
I can speak for Preem.
Yeah.
I don't speak for Marshall Mathers. You know what I mean? But I'm open to it. I'll say that.
Do you think we could get Joe Budden to rap again? Because I was talking to you on the way over here, and I was telling you, I'm a fan of Joe as a rapper. I want to hear him rap again. Can we hear him rap again? Do you think we'll hear him rap again?
Yes.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I hope it's somewhere there, and I hope it comes soon. So as far as like the stuff you're talking about, just kind of moving at your pace now is kind of what it sounds like. You've done music for so long, and it's not that you're not challenged by it. It's you want to start venturing off and start kind of starting up your own your different, whether it be just different challenges, man. Like I just got done talking to Bun B, and he's talking about how he's dipping deep into the food industry right now. And he's been setting up his Trill Burgers. He just set up at Coachella.
I've seen that.
Yeah, he's killing the game right now. But he's so passionate about the food industry because he said, like, I'm attacking it with the same tenacity that I did the music industry, and it's a new challenge. So
Bun is a champion.
absolutely. So is there any other things that you would like to kind of dip your hands into that you haven't spoken on, as far as like
Man, I'm doing a bunch of shit. I don't speak on them though.
content creation? What do you think about
Everything.
all that stuff?
I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm doing a lot of stuff, especially with investing in building different companies and learning different things. I don't want to get to a point, man, where everything is just rap for me.
Yeah.
Rap, culture is life for me. Rap is not life. Culture is life. Culture is a lifestyle. Rap is not a lifestyle. People think because rapping well is a forte of mine, people think that guys like me who rap like me, Joe, Crook, like guys who rap like us, they think that we just sit around and we just rap all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not one of those guys. You know what I mean? Like they think the same thing about Black Thought, but you look up Black Thought, he'll be teaching a master class. He'll be fucking writing and starring in a play on Broadway. Like the Fallon thing. Like he just does so many cool things. He just does a bunch of cool shit, man. And he just diversifies in like a cool way. He's like Black Thought is like a case study of mine. You know what I mean? So if I had like a storyboard, and just different areas of execution, I would have Black Thought's face right at the top. I love the way he moves. I love the fact that I don't hear him. I don't hear him unless some cool shit is happening, unless he's doing some cool shit.
Yeah.
And I just love that about him. And he continues to elevate. And I pattern myself after that. I want to be in that realm, not just lyrically, but just as a brand, just moving throughout the culture and as a contributor to the culture,
A few more things before we wrap up. I know we addressed, management, and you talked about how important that was early on for you, and that was one of the key pieces to it. Mentorship. I feel that's something that's often understated, not just within, I'm just talking about in life in general. The importance of mentorship and having a mentor. And in your case now, you're in a position where you can mentor young talent. You can mentor people in general. It doesn't even have to be within the music industry. How important would you say mentorship is
It's extremely important. I mean, because you basically taking youngins who you know are about to make all of the mistakes in the world, because this business is not, it's not designed for you to thrive, you know?
Yeah.
So it's designed for you to fall, hit your head, get rich, or what you think is rich, and then go broke, and then get it again, and then go broke, and then, you know what I mean? So mentorship just it curves all of that. It keeps you from making unnecessary mistakes early on. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's extremely important. You know what I mean? Like I hang my hat on it. It's a passion of mine. I love doing it. You know what I mean? Like I have my pups. I call them my pups. I have my pups at the studio and talk to them all day, and I look at that shit like a complete work day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Like I don't have to
sure.
write a rap. I can sit there and talk to them, and I feel like I've done work today. And that's how important that I take it. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely, along with my foundation and a host of other things, mentorship is definitely something that I'm going to take to a whole nother level.
Absolutely. I feel like those are just they're equipped these people with tools that they're going to be able to use.
Yeah, because what we do is we focus on just our people.
Yeah.
And when I say just our people, I mean our friends and loved ones. You know, like I'll mentor my son, or I'll mentor my nephew, or I'll mentor, a young rapper who I know. But what about the rappers we don't know?
Yeah.
They need mentorship too.
Absolutely.
So I want to expand, and I want to be able to, I feel like I didn't make all these stupid, crazy ass mistakes in vain, man. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
absolutely.
there has to be something redeeming that comes from, all of the mistakes that were made, because there isn't a mistake that they can make that I haven't made,
And I think that's important because I think that's something for me that I'm extremely passionate about is mentorship. I take mentorship extremely serious. Anytime I get an opportunity to mentor a young talent, a young person in general, just something that I could advise them with, like I always take that opportunity because I take leadership serious, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we mentioned like not everybody could be the quarterback, but I take being a quarterback very serious, and I like to
Mm-hmm.
direct and help. So I definitely wanted to touch on that. Few more things I would say. You mentioned being in the studio with Marshall. Is it just working on music? Like, how does that look whenever you and Marshall connect? Is it like, hey, just come to the studio, let's just work on whatever, or is it a specific project that he'll bring you in for and be like, yo, I'm working on this album. I would love to kind of get you to
I haven't seen him the whole pandemic. I'll talk to him.
just
We haven't seen each other.
yeah, but just obviously
Yeah,
over the air
because
sessions.
of the pandemic. So I'm due to see him soon. I'll probably see him within the next couple of weeks. When I'm done traveling, I'm gonna make it a thing to go up there. Number one, I just want to see him. I want to hug him.
Yeah,
You know
sure.
what I mean? And then I think he's always working on shit. So I want to hear whatever it is he's working on. If he's doing an album, like whatever. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I want to hear whatever that is, and I don't know what that's gonna look like.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, everything weird now, man.
I've always admired how you've always been vocal about your admiration and your respect for your friendship with him because you've always been very protective. And I mean, you talk about that loyalty word earlier in the conversation, extremely loyal. And I've always seen that with your relationship with Marshall. And it goes without saying, but just to
He
hear.
put me in the business. I'm forever loyal to him.
And that was the next question, which was, it goes without saying, but what has he meant to you as a friend, as a colleague? Obviously, he put you into the business, but just
He means everything to me. I'm just kidding. I mean, he put me in the business, and he also he played an integral role in my sobriety.
Oh wow!
He's just an important person in my life, man. He's just a dope ass dude, man. You know what I mean? I value his friendship. That's it. That's it.
Awesome.
I kind of feel that way about all my friends, to be honest with you.
That's dope.
Because I'm to a point now where I don't have I cut off a lot of fat, so I don't have a lot of just unnecessary people in my life. I got a lot of associates and business people and shit like that, but even the people that I deal with, like me and you, we do business, but I fuck with you. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, man.
So it's like I don't really have a lot of people that I just talk to that I kind of feel like, this motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
so-
no, and I know we don't always talk, and when we do talk, we eventually hit each other up about some boxing stuff, which brings me to the last part of this conversation. You posted a meme about Julio Cesar Chavez, right? I'm a fucking proud Mexican, so I always talk Mexican on my platform, and it's something that means a lot to me. Yo, that shit was fire because a lot of people have a tendency like to not give my man his credit, but yo, he's a god to us, man. He's a god to us. Speak about Julio Cesar Chavez. Yo, for those that don't know, Royce is a boxing aficionado, which is why he's wearing the Apollo Creed shorts today.
Yeah, he's a god to me too. He's a god to me too. That's the killer from Culiacan, boy. I mean, he's a god to me. He's one of them guys that he's easy to forget about when you name in your top 5 because he didn't do the marketing thing.
Yeah.
He spoke in the ring.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And he don't speak English, correct?
No, he doesn't speak
Okay.
English.
Okay,
no.
I think that has something to do with it too. I think that's probably the only reason he wasn't a humongous star here. Because, Canelo, he's learning English fast.
Yeah,
fast. Sure. You know what I mean?
Hey, but he crawled so Canelo could walk, or he walked so he could run.
He took shrapnel for Canelo. He took shrapnel for Canelo. And I love that, man. I love that. But I love Chavez because he fought I'm not gonna say he fought everybody, but
he fought a lot of
he didn't duck anybody. He didn't duck anybody, but I think that he fought a lot. I don't really know a lot about the fights that only took place in Mexico.
Yeah.
That jumped his record up like it jumped it
to
up.
jump to 87-0.
If we talking about just raw talent, raw skill, dog, he's a straight up tough guy, bro.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy. Usually guys that are that tough aren't that skilled like how he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he just could do everything, but he chose to walk you down.
So, I wasn't going to talk too much boxing, but since we're on the subject, got to ask you, who wins in these mythical matches? Tyson Fury versus Lennox Lewis.
I'm going to get that one to Lennox.
I'm going to give that to Lennox as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, got you.
That would be a good one.
That's a really good one. Really good match stylistically. I favor Lennox Lewis. Earl Spence versus Terrence Crawford, which isn't going to be a mythical match for much longer, may I add.
It's mythical in the meantime. That's Hagler Leonard.
Who you got?
That's Hagler Leonard. I'm going to go with Bud, though.
I'm going to go with Bud as well, so we're 2 for 2.
I don't think now there's no human. No human's going to beat Bud right now. But Bud can't fight Spence how he fought Sean.
For sure.
And Spence can't fight Bud how he fought Ugas. They got to come up with it. They got to come up with another way.
Prime Andre Ward versus Canelo Alvarez.
Ooh. On that note, everybody, the interview is over. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that one. Man, Prime Andre Ward, bruh. Prime Andre Ward. Who the fuck beats Prime Andre Ward, bruh?
Nobody. That's why he was undefeated.
But that's Canelo, though.
Oh, Canelo's a bad man.
I can't pick. I can't choose. I can't choose with that one. I'm sorry.
Royce the 5'9", I appreciate you joining me.
Come on,
Despite
man.
you not liking Manny Pacquiao for all those years.
What did I tell you, though?
He said that Floyd would win, and Floyd won, so.
And I'm a true friend. You know why? Because I didn't bet him. I knew I could have took his money.
Yo, Royce, I appreciate you, man. We got to run it back
love
soon,
and respect.
Man. Thank you so much.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here, man.
Man, thank you so much for coming in. First Time Media. This is the one and only Royce the 5'9". Make sure to check him out. I'm sure he'll have some dope shit dropping soon. In the meantime, follow him on Instagram and all that good stuff. And we're out.